And by 2045, every responsible scientist is saying that we will be producing 40% less food than what we have right now. And our populations will be well over 9 billion. So, that's not a world you want to live in. That's not a world where you want to leave your boy. Because I want you to just imagine, in this city, let's take the city, it's peaceful and nice right now. If 40% of the people have not eaten in this city, do you think they'll sit in some corners and quietly die? They're going to rip your civilization apart. Your civilization will evaporate in 3 days of food shortages. Not just civilization, your very humanity will evaporate in 3 days of food shortages because the chaos that it will create will be such. This is not the first time, it's happened in the past. It has happened in the past. Famines have happened, other things have happened. When food shortages have happened, I'm not saying this just to shock you, but I'm saying this because people are asking me, Sadhguru, why at this stage in your life are you attempting something like this? 30,000 kilometers, have you lost your mind? Why I'm doing this is, see, if you look at the world, in the last 25 years, the area of deserts on the planet has increased by 10%. 10% more desert on the planet. The northern African deserts are about the same or larger than 3 times the Indian subcontinent. That's not a small bit of area, all right? And it's spreading. In the last 20 years, in India, 300,000 farmers have committed suicide. In United States, one profession which commits maximum number of suicides is the farming community. In the last 12 years, 50% of American farmers have not seen a single dollar of profit. All families are shooting themselves up. So, what else needs to happen for people to wake up? What else?
Punch in the face.
Just about 70, 80 years ago, almost every part of the world has seen terrible famines. Famine is not fun. A bomb is better, believe me, at least it takes you. Famine is a slow fade of life. In 3 to 4 months, people die horrendous lives. In 1942, Bengal famine in India took 3.2 million people in 4 months. Their suffering, unfortunately, cannot be recorded and has not been anywhere. There is no way you can record the suffering of human beings who see their children, their parents, and everybody who's little weaker than them starts dying one by one and you are also fading away. And there have been situations in the world, in many parts of the world, where people have chopped off their children's arms and eaten it just to survive. I'm not saying these terrible things to scare you or to talk about a doomsday, world is going to end. No, the world is not going to end. The problem is our populations are increasing and if the food production decreases, it'll be a slow fade. We always think it'll happen to somebody else, unfortunately. No, it can happen to any one of us. Right now, the nutrient loss in the food is such, like World Health Organization is predicting that there will be a mental pandemic, mental illness pandemic, I'm sorry. What this means is, the coronavirus pandemic means if there is one person here who's got the infection, all the people sitting in this hall may get it. That's what it means. That's a pandemic. Mental illness pandemic means what? That means every one of us who's sitting in this room are susceptible to some kind of mental illness. Why is that happening? One of the biggest things is lack of micronutrients in the food. We are not eating the right kind of food. There is no strength in the life that we are. We may have muscles, that is not the strength. The essential life must be strong. When I say essential life, the life that you are is only a consequence or a reflection of what's happening in the soil. Right now, the biggest crime that we're committing is, I've been talking to a whole lot of agricultural ministries in the world. What I see is, even today, developed nations are still talking about soil like it's some inert material, and they're going to add this chemical and that chemical and fix it. That's not the way it is. It is a living system. It is the largest living system on the planet, not just the planet, in the known universe that we know. This is the largest living system, which is the soil. It is so complex. What is happening there, you are just a small representation of that. Even in terms of evolution, you are an outcome of what has happened in the soil. Well, will we get it now? Or will we get it when they bury us? That's the only option we have. If we get it now, such horrendous situations can be avoided. Will we be remembered or will we become that generation which turned back from the brink of a disaster? Or will we be that generation which slept through and fell over? This is the choice we have. I would like to see that we are that generation who is responsible enough, alert enough, who will prevent a disaster, not cry and grieve after a disaster.
But how can we do that?
What
can we personally do? Like, what can I go home and what do I do?
See, you go home and in the night you start fixing your garden.
Also, there's people who are more worried about revitalizing their hair than revitalizing the soil.
Like, that is true.
How can we wake them up? What needs to be done where everyone's so in their own bubble and worried about anything else?
Somebody was telling me statistics that the amount that is spent on neurosciences, including brain surgeries and all that, it seems the hair care products are about 5 times more than that. Hair, not the hair, that's the policy. Anyway, if you go and fix your garden today, that's very cute of you, we appreciate that. But that's not the solution. Because the problem is in the agricultural lands. 71% of the world's land is under agriculture. That's where the problem is. Why did the problem happen? How did it happen? See, if you take sand and put organic content into it, it will become soil. If you take soil and remove all the organic content, it will become sand. So, this is all we have done. We've removed all the organic content in the last 25 to 40 years, in some countries up to 100 years, but largely in the last 40 years is the maximum damage. Why did this happen? Every farmer, 50 years ago, let's say, every farmer knew he needs to have some animals on the farm, he needs some trees and other vegetation, and he understood that without the help of the soil, he cannot really grow a crop. But somewhere along the way, somebody produced a magic powder. Today you call it fertilizer, it was magic powder at one time. Somebody brought this, a bag of it and gave it to you, you threw it in your land and suddenly your crops burst forth like that. In many places, the production increased 3 times over, 300% increase in yield happened in many places. Because the land was already rich, a little bit of infusion of fertilizer made it like that. But since then, we forgot that the organisms in the soil need organic content, and top of it, if you add some fertilizers, you will get yield. Like you're eating good food, and top of it, maybe 1 or 2 vitamin pills, this, that, iron, calcium, something, if it's lacking, you take it. But now, because of these pills or tablets, you felt really great tomorrow morning, and you decided from tomorrow you will not eat food instead of 2, you will eat 200 tablets and you will be doing great. This is exactly what we have done to the land. We put some fertilizer and it produced results for us. Then we forgot, it can only be doctored application. It cannot be wholesale application of fertilizer. Because of this, the farming the cost of production has been going up and going up. Almost nowhere is farmer making any money because he's not making that. Younger generation is not going for that. We've done some kind of a survey in India. Not even 2% of the farmers want their children to go into farming. Right now it's over 60%. Not even 2% want that. See, farming means you have learned the magic of turning mud into food. It's not a small thing. If there are people here, young people, many of them with all kinds of qualifications, let us say you are an MBA, or let's say you are an MSc in agriculture, you come, I'll give you 10 acres of fertile soil to you, very fertile land. 5 different crops, just grow it and show it to me. You will see you will be a disaster because farming is not like that. It needs meticulous application, there's an intrinsic knowledge about it. So in another 20-25 years when this generation passes, who has the knowledge to grow food and where are we going to go? So this is happening across the world, but in some places very dramatically, in other places maybe not so much. So soil is an important part because right now people are thinking of various aspects, thinking that many problems are there. Yes, there are problems. Yes, there are issues of fossil fuel. Yes, there is pollution. All this is there. But soil is the main link in this carbon cycle of life. What we call as life is essentially the cycle of carbon. But today there are too many, online scientists or WhatsApp scientists, you know?
Yeah.
WhatsApp scientists. They read 2 messages and they become scientists. They're all… if you say carbon, they say, oh, poison. We are carbon, we are all carbon life here. Everything that you know, from a flower to fruit to man to woman to everything, everything is carbon, isn't it? So this is a carbon life. What you call as life on this planet is a cycle of carbon. In this cycle or in this chain, soil is the vital link, the largest and the most vital link. That link is wearing thin. If it breaks in some way, if it becomes too weak, then the rest of the chain will start crumbling down. Every year, according to UNFAO, every year 27,000 species, I don't think it registers, 27,000 species of microbial life, both beneath the soil and above, are going extinct. 27,000 species. Everybody is very clear, in 25 to 35 years or 25 to 40 years, let's say, it will come to a place where you cannot regenerate soil. So, we need to act now as a generation. This is a challenge, an opportunity and a privilege that we could turn the world around as a generation. Next and the next one will not be able to if we don't do it now. So first and foremost thing is to enshrine soil and ecological regeneration as a part of every nation's policy. Why I'm insisting on the policy is, see, today you will go and fix your garden, I'm sure. You fixed your garden, I fixed my land, somebody else did wonderful things. But this is good, it's very nice, but this is not a solution. Because this is what has happened. The previous generations had done farming very well, but in the last one generation, we ripped it apart. So if you do it well, what is the guarantee the next generation will do it well? This is why it has to go into the policy, that this is the way to do it. Now, in this city, I don't know the laws of your city, but let me put it this way, suppose you have 25,000 square feet of land. You cannot build 25,000 square foot building. They will allow you to build 15 or 20,000 square feet. You have to allow some space for yourself, your neighbor, something. But in Europe, I don't know how the city is, but if you go to the old cities in Europe, You will see houses are built in such a way that there is no concept of a window, only one door, in and out through the same door. Because at that time there were no rules, everybody built whichever way they wanted, you can't change it now. So now there are laws, if you build anything more than you should build, the authorities will come and demolish it. But suppose you have 100 acres of land, you plow every inch of it, turn it into a desert in the next 15 years' time, nobody will ask you, why have you done this? Because there is no law. So we need to understand, soil is not our property. Soil is a legacy that's come to us in its living condition. We must pass it on to that little boy of yours in a living condition.